I think this is a very important topic.
Well, at the top of the show, I told about, the grief that I'd gone through. I've lost two wives and then lost a brother last year to COVID, lost a mother and father, and it's not fun losing loved ones, and you've had your share of grief as well. Tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, my husband and I were entertaining guests at our home and sitting around the table and just enjoying company, enjoying playing cards. And in the middle of a sentence, he just stopped talking. We thought he was going to finish what he was saying, and then he just fell to the floor. And right there in our own house at our own dining table, my husband passed away. But as hard as that was, I felt like something beautiful was happening, something wonderful. And all I could do in that moment was just say, I trust you, Lord, and I love you, Lord, and I thank you, Lord, and I know that you're with me, Lord, all the way through while paramedics worked on him and while they took him to the hospital, but never could restore him. It was the presence of angels, the presence of the Spirit that was right there with me, and it carried me those next several days in ways that I'll never be able to explain. And if we know that there is always someone with us, it makes that pain a whole lot lighter.
Yeah, and your husband died just a couple months after my wife, Lenita, died. And, for me, she called me, and she died suddenly just like your husband did, but she called me just as I'd left the house, maybe 10 minutes after I left, and she said, I don't feel right. And I started to say, well, everything will be okay, but I could tell that something was wrong. I said, I'll call an ambulance and I'll be right back. I got out on the interstate and had to go down to the next exit to turn around to come to our house. And by the time I got to the house, I'd call the ambulance, but she was lying on the floor, and the ambulance pulled up the same time I did, and they got into the house almost at the same time I did, and we were never able to revive her. And I was in such a state of shock for days and weeks. And for me, it was much more difficult. I'm not saying yours wasn't difficult, but you talk about having the peace of these angels and God's presence with you. But I think I felt the pain a little deeper. How did you overcome this grief that you were going through?
Well, you're talking about shock, and maybe it was partly that, but I truly do believe it was the Spirit of God being with me too, because God prepares us in ways that we're not even aware of until we stop and think back